Salakia, Shalom, Israel, Shalom, Shalom. Brother Naquam, watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another cold cut, giving, of course, our honor and our glory to Yahweh. By Shema Mashiach, like Yahushai. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming of Mashiach, like Yahushai. A hearty, mighty Shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their body as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that are out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, the men that may not be out there on the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying, they're fasting, they're studying, they're being diligent and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Aquath out there, the sincere sisters out there, holding it down in the households, reverencing their husbands, being submissive and diligent, and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom, shalom. And shalom to everybody tuning in live. We got Next Israel, Nigel Blends, From Egypt to Israel, with Shania Ben Judah, HBK Ent, T. Sellers, Jadis, Delphius, Caleb Way T, Juliet 18, Solomon McFadden, Emily Jones, Vernon Brody, and everybody else tuning in and that will tune in, Lord willing. The topic of this code cut is WFI Law School, the dietary law, and the truth of the beast. So the spirit has been on us to go into the law. We've covered the Nazarite vow and Numbers the 6th chapter and vows in general, right? We're covering right now the dietary law and the truth of the beast. Right, we've covered Deuteronomy, the 22nd chapter with the marriage and the dowry. We've covered the ancient mind, in particular laws in Exodus, the 21st chapter, and the judgment to the Lord. So we have to go into this law because the law is the foundation of understanding everything else in the Bible, right? If you don't understand the law, then you're going to have a hard time really keeping up with the pack, for lack of better terms, and understanding what Yahweh Bashmi Yahushai has in store, right? See, the Bible, the law, for lack of better terms, the law, let's pull this up, blue letter, right? Still had that from the last video. Esau like a madman, right? The law is the foundation, right? If you don't have the foundation, then you don't have anything. Let's go to Psalms chapter 119, right? This is Psalms chapter 119. And verse 1, blessed are the undefiled in the way who walk in the law of Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, right? So the Lord said you're blessed and you're undefiled if you walk in the laws of the Lord, because the laws show you how to be obedient. The laws pretty much lay the premise and the foundation for how to understand higher level things in the Bible. Right? When you read, and I'm going to get the precept, Lord willing, Sirach, the 39th chapter, it speaks about how men of wisdom and men that meditate in prophecy, it all starts with them giving their mind over to the law. All right, so if you may say, well, how come I can't understand this? I'm reading Revelation, I'm reading Daniel, I'm reading Ezekiel, I'm reading Zechariah. Hey, hell, I'm reading certain in Proverbs, and I can't get it because you have to go back to the law and see the foundation. When you read Proverbs, there are things in Proverbs you wouldn't know unless you knew the law. Things in Revelation, you're definitely not going to know unless you know the law. It speaks of the altar. It speaks of the incense. It speaks of the Ark of the Testimony and the temple. So you have to walk in the law of the Lord, not just know it, walk and live in this truth. All right. Blessed are they that keep his testimonies and that seek him with the whole heart. So that's not just reading, okay, I just know Leviticus, right? The 11th chapter, okay, I just know I can't eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. Okay, I'm moving on. What's next? No, you have to seek the Lord with your whole heart. Like we went into last time, Ezra. What did Ezra do? Let's go to Ezra, the 7th chapter. We brought this out last time. Ezra chapter 7 and verse 9. For upon the first day of the month began he to go up from Babylon. And on the first day of the 5th month came he to Jerusalem, according to the good hand of his God upon him. For Ezra had prepared his heart to seek the law of the Lord. and to do it, and to teach in Israel statutes and judgments. So that's when you prepare your heart, you come up with a plan, you meditate, you analyze the good that may come with it, the profitability when you take that action, the risk that you may take, your goals that you set. When you prepare for something, there are plans of actions. And he did that to seek the law of the Lord, man, and to do it, and to teach it. That's a good 3-step process. Seek the law, perform the law, teach the law. You can't teach the law if you don't do the law. How are you going to do the law unless you seek the law? You can't go out there and teach Israel statutes and judgments if you have never sought after the law. It's one thing to hear the law from somebody teaching it. It's another thing for you to open up the Bible yourself and read it for yourself and seek it, right? As if it's lost. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus, right? The 39th chapter. Then I want to get right into it. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmi Awashad. Right? Let's go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 39. And I want to start at verse 1, right? This is one of my favorite chapters in Ecclesiasticus. Right? Ecclesiasticus chapter 39 and 1. It reads, "But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies." So you have men, they want to come into the truth immediately and start occupying themselves in the house of prophecies or the room of prophecies. Because remember, this is the house of learning. When you read Ecclesiasticus, the 51st chapter, this entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation is the house of learning. And there are many rooms, many chambers. You have the room of prophecy. You have the room of the law. You have the room of the history. You have the room of wisdom. You have all of these different rooms set up by Yahweh Bashmi Awashad. Right? But the law is the first floor. You can't just jump to the room of prophecy and say, I'm going to occupy myself and I'm going to read the book of Revelation. I'm going to dive into Zechariah. I'm going to go into Daniel, the 9th chapter. I'm going to go to Daniel, the 2nd chapter. I live in a room of prophecy. It don't work like that. You can't go into that room until you stay and give your mind over to the law of the Most High. That's the prerequisite. You can't take algebra 3 unless you take algebra 1. Right? That's plain. You can't be in the NFL or the NBA unless you play, high school, college. You got to go through the program that the Lord has set up. There's a strict regimen. You go, you repent. First, you hear the word of Yahweh Bashmi Awashad. Then you believe the word. Then you seek the word. Then you live the word. Then you teach the word. Then you meditate on the word. And you start giving your mind over to the law of the Lord. And say, well, how can I be more obedient to the Most High God? How can I be closer and be more righteous? So if you give your mind over to the law, eventually the Lord is going to open you up and start letting you understand the prophecies and meditate on them. All right. He will keep the sayings of the renowned men, and where subtle parables are, he will be there also. And let me just say this. You shouldn't just seek the law just because you want to understand the prophecy. You seek the law for the kingdom of heaven's sake. That's Matthew 19 and 16. Right? What things should I do that I may enter into everlasting life? Paraphrasing. Enter into life. Right? He said, keep the commandments. That's what Yahushua said. All right? So you keep the commandments and keep the law for your salvation's sake. He will seek out the secrets of grave sentences and be conversant in dark parables. So that man is only going to be on that level if only he gives his mind to the law of the Most High. So let's give our mind to the law of the Most High, right? And let's jump right into it. This is the dietary law and the truth of the beast, right? Let's go to Leviticus, the 11th chapter. Now you may say, I already know that. Don't eat pork. Don't eat crab. Well, there's more to it than that, right? There's more to the dietary law than not eating just pork and crab, man. And we're going to dive into it. And we're going to go into the verses that Christians say that the dietary law is done away with, right? Matthew, the 7th chapter. So like, was that? Let's actually get that. Matthew and Mark. So they go to these chapters. They go to Matthew, the 15th chapter. Right? We're going to cover this. They go to Mark, the 7th chapter. They go to Acts, the 10th chapter. Romans, the 14th chapter. We're going to cover those chapters too. First, let's show you the law before we go into Mark 15, Mark 7, Acts 10, Romans, the 14th chapter, right? And break those barriers down. Leviticus chapter 11 and 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, these are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. So this is what we call the dietary law, right? When you read Leviticus, the 11th chapter, Deuteronomy, right? Salakia. Bear with me. Let's see. Yeah, Deuteronomy, the 14th chapter, it speaks about the dietary law, right? I'm going to jump down in this chapter, and it's going to tell you that. Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 46. This is the law of the beast and of the fowl and of every living creature that moveth in the waters and of every creature that creepeth upon the earth, to make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and between the beast that may be eaten and the beast that may not be eaten. So you just can't eat anything. I'm not going to pull up all of the videos of the Moabites eating squid. Man, I saw these Hamites earlier. They made a like a bowl. They dug in the ground and they had meat, dipping it in the water out of some mud hole that they did. You can't eat that. You can't just eat anything. You can't eat frog legs. You can't eat snail. They call it escargot, and all of these foods that these nations eat. There's set order on what to eat, what not to eat. Anything, just because it moved don't mean you can eat it. There are clean beasts and unclean beasts. And your beasts and your creatures are divided into 4 classifications. It's like you have your beast, and your beasts have subcategories. Your beasts consist of the herd, they consist of the cattle. All right. And then you have your fowls, which are your so-called birds. And then you have the living creatures that move within the waters. Those are your fishes, your whales, right? And then you have your bottom feeders. And then you have the creeping things, right? Your spiders, your ants, your centipedes, your millipedes. Those are your 4 so-called classifications of beasts. You have beasts, fowls, living creatures in the waters, what the Lord calls the fishes of the sea, and you have the creeping things. All right, let's get that. And I'm gonna have to open up another blue letter. Right, I want to open up another blue letter. I want to go to 1 Kings, the 4th chapter. Right, 1 Kings, the 4th chapter, to actually prove that these are your 4 classifications of beast, or what the world Esau calls it, the animal kingdom or the animal world. It's like the animal world. All right, this 1 Kings chapter 4 and 33. Here's what Solomon did. And he spake of trees, from the cedar tree that is in Lebanon, even to the hyssop that springeth out of the wall. He spake also of beast and of fowl and of creeping thing and of fishes. Whenever you hear the Most High speaks about his creation of animals as a whole, whether it's a reptile or a bird, these are always the 4 classifications. A beast is what the world calls your 4-footed mammals, marsupials, right? Esau has all types of names for them, man. Your rodents, you know. Then you have your fowls, your creepy things, and your fishes. But what Esau says that there are 5 animal kingdoms, right? This is what Esau say. Your animals, your plants, your fungi, your protists, and your prokaryotes, right? Well, that's not in the Bible, man. Not saying the Most High didn't create all of these things, but the Most High kept it simple, right? The Most High kept it simple and divided up into these 4 things. Right? So now, as you read this chapter, it tells you what beasts can be eaten, what fowls could be eaten, what things in the water could be eaten. Right? It goes and breaks it down to a T. So let's start at Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 3. Whatsoever parteth the hoof and is cloven-footed and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat. So actually, I'm gonna pull up this picture. Parteth the hoof, meaning it has a split. Cloven-footed, meaning it has a hard top, hard bottom. Right? Chew the cud, meaning it eats its food, digests it, puts it into a stomach, regurgitates it, swallows it, puts it to another stomach, regurgitates it, chews it again, puts it to another stomach, and it does that a few times. That's chewing the cud. So these are the classifications of the beast that you can eat. All right. So what part's the hoof? Here's an example of parting the hoof. Right. Hold on. Let's actually let's look at a goat or a deer. Right. Let's see if we can get here, split hoof animals. All right. So here's a cloven foot with a so-called split hoof. All right. Now here's a cloven foot without a split hoof. So the Lord said it's cloven footed and parted the hoof. See the part right here? And the cloven meaning is hard. This horse or this donkey, mule, it does not part the hoof. So these are signs and a design created so man can look at it and say, hey, that's something I can eat and put in my body. Oh, no, that's something I can't eat. There was no, what's that, food pyramid. You had your carbohydrates and you had your fruits and you had your vegetables. You had your dairy, you had your poultry, and you had your sugars at the top. Adam didn't have that. Moses didn't have that. Noah didn't have that. They had the actual creature created by Yahweh WATCHMEN with a particular design that man can look at to determine what should they put in their body and what they shouldn't put in their body. And man, this is still here. You should be able to look at these beasts and look, I'm not eating the damn horse, man. I'm not eating the donkey and the mule. Why? Because it does not have the characteristics of a clean beast. Now, let's actually show you more about these beasts. All right, more about these beasts. These are your goats, your so-called sheeps, right? Your rams. So you can eat goat, you can eat lamb, right? You can eat these things. They have to have a cloven foot, right? A hard, it's like a cloven footed, and they have to part the hoof, and they have to chew the cud. You'll see certain animals that part the hoof and cloven footed, but they don't chew the cud. All right. And then certain animals chew the cud, but don't part the hoof. So you have to really look at this beast, man. You can't just look at it and say, oh, well, look, it has a split hoof and a cloven foot. Let me eat it. No, you got to kind of watch this beast. You got to watch it and observe and say, is it chewing a cud? Let me pay attention to how this animal eats its food. Right? Because guess what? The swine, what? It parted the hoof. And it's cloven footed, yet it cheweth not the cud. So it's unclean to you. So you have to look at that pig and look at a cow and say, hold on, well, they have similar characteristics, but something is different. The pig eats a little bit different than the cow. And you have to, well, okay, well, look, I'm gonna eat the cow, right? I'm gonna eat the lamb, okay, I'm gonna eat the goat, right? And you gotta make that decision. You have to be very observant, right? You have to be very observant according to the laws of Yahweh WATCHMEN. All right, Salaki, bear with me. Right? You have to be very observant according to the laws of Yahweh WATCHMEN. All right, so let's move on. I actually want to show these creatures. So these creatures that chew the cud, cloven-footed, right, and the split hoof, they are what you call ruminant creatures, right? So here's a ruminant, right? A ruminant are hoofed, herbivorous, grazing, or browsing mammals. Hold on, let me go back. That are able to acquire nutrients from plant-based food by fermenting it in a specialized stomach prior to digestion. All right. So a ruminant has multiple stomachs. Here's your 4 stomachs. Let's see what we have. Your omasum, what's like your reticulum, your omasum, your abomasum, and your rumen. These are the 4 stomachs. And here's what they do. So your reticulum, which is right here, is what the cow has. Not every animal has these multiple stomachs. All right. So it guards against the intrusion of any large particles that have been slipped past the rumen. All right. That need to be broken down more. So that's what the reticulum does. Right. So once it, I believe the rumen is first. Once it hits that rumen, it says designed to hold onto hard to digest foods like the nitrogen in grass and break them down via fermentation. So that's the Most High, that's that science. That's the Lord's design. Right? This has nothing to do with evolution, the Big Bang. The Lord designed, this is intelligent design to create these 4 stomachs to be able to break down these nutrients. That's what the rumen does. Right? And then you have your reticulum. Guards against the intrusion of any large particles that have slipped past the rumen that need to be broken down more. Then you have your omasum, which absorbs nutrients as it squeezes waters from feed particles and breaks them down into smaller and smaller particles. Then you have your abomasum, where acids and digestive juices mingle with the food particles. From here, food moves on to the small intestine. You see that? So that's how Yahweh Bashman Rashai gets down, man. He has these 4 stomachs created. So when that cow, you'll watch that cow chew that grass, he'll chew it, swallow it, it'll go to one stomach, throw it back up, chew it again, swallow it, right? That's how the Lord created these animals that feed on the grass. Let's see if I had an actual video. I'm not going to play the whole video, but we're going to check it out.
In the midst of applying for residency right now, wish me luck. Grammarly has again been a lifesaver in my application.
I'm going to play this whole lesson they went into. We're going to get straight to the point.
In the earlier topics, you have learned about the
Let's see.
omasum and abomasum. Food route. Food to mouth, to rumen, to mouth, to chewing, to rumen, to reticulum, to omasum, to abomasum, to intestine, to the colon, to anus.
See that? So they broke it down. Food to the mouth, to the rumen, back into your mouth. Then they chew it some more. Then it goes to the rumen, then a reticulum, then an omasum, then an abomasum, then the intestine, then it's out of here. Every creature doesn't do that, man. The swine doesn't do that, right? The eagle, certain beasts don't do that. So they do that on a physical level. That's why you see those videos of the cow chewing the cud, man. You see that? It's another good picture right here. And if you want to get that order intact, the rumen, reticulum, omasum, and abomasum, these are things that we should know. Right? This is the things that we should have learned, from our fathers and our mothers, man, on why we can and can't eat certain things. Now, really, the Lord, on a spiritual level, the Lord likens us unto sheep, right? And the Lord likens us unto sheep that feed in the grass. Hence the saying, you are what you eat, right? This is Psalms chapter 23 and 1. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. So we are sheep. We're ruminants on a spiritual level, right? We take the word of the Most High, which is this green pasture, which is the grass of the Lord, and it's our job to eat that grass, and we break that down, man. Right? No, we don't have literal 4 stomachs. Okay, it's not okay. I don't have this, and then a reticulum. No, that's not what it's talking about. If you look at a sheep, let's look up a sheep eating grass. And that's really the best place for a sheep. A sheep will have no other greater place to dwell in than green pastures, not brown pastures, right? Not yellow grass. This is us. And here's us when we're reading the Genesis, when we read Exodus, when we read Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, right? Joshua, Judges. When we read the scriptures, we are the sheep. We are these ruminants eating up the grass, right? And the word is the grass. So we eat it. When you eat something in the Bible, it doesn't mean you literally eat something, right? So this grass that we're eating is really the word that we're learning. All right, let's actually get that in Job chapter 34. Right, this is Job chapter 34 and verse 3. For the ear trieth words as the mouth tasteth meat. So the same way your physical mouth can taste chicken, beef, lamb, venison, it's the same way your ear could taste the truth, or it could taste the lie. Then it goes into your belly, which is your mind. All right, so we should be receiving a word the same way that a sheep receives the word, the same way that a calf receives the word. That's how we should be digesting and taking the word of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, man. Right? So this word that we eat, we should eat it, meaning hear it, and then we should be able to digest it, and then meditate on it, then talk about it, then read it, then digest it, meditate on it. That's it, kind of seeking in your belly when you meditate on it, and do it all over again, man. Right? Just like a sheep or a cow, they eat it, they digest it, they regurgitate it, they eat it, digest it, regurgitate it. That's what we do with the words of the Lord, man. We eat it, we give it to our people, we meditate on it, we eat more. This is how we are as sheep. The ear trieth words as the mouth tasteth meat. Let's go to Sirach chapter 36. All right, let's go to Ecclesiasticus, the 36th chapter. That's why the Lord likens us unto sheep, due to how we are supposed to receive the words of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai and eat it and meditate on it. Right? Then speak it. Then eat it again. And read that again, then meditate on it, and then speak it and do that, follow that same process. This Ecclesiasticus chapter 36 and verse 19. As the palate, that's your taste bud, right, tasteth diverse kinds of venison, so doth an heart of understanding false speeches. So the same way your taste buds can discern, okay, that's red deer. Okay, that's white-tailed deer. Okay, well, that's elk. You should be able to discern what kind of meat you're eating, the same way your belly should be able to know what's the truth and what's not the truth. All right, that's how that works according to the Spirit. So we are the sheep eating at these green pastures, right? We're chewing on a cud. And I was dwelling on that earlier. That's an actual saying. Somebody might say, hey, look, chew on this, right? Chew on this means, let's see if I can get this. And somebody said, chew on this. What does this mean? to think about something carefully for a long time before, hold on, let's pull this back up, before making a decision about it. That's hip talk, right? Chew on this. That means that you're kind of taking your time, you're dwelling on it, you're meditating on it. So that's what we do. When we chew that grass and that green pasture, we're meditating on the words of the Lord, right? We're keeping it in our heart. We're examining ourselves. We're applying the word. We're chewing on this, man. It's hip talk. Jake say that, man. Right? That's how they say it. Chew on this for a while. Does that mean literally do it? No, that's not what it means literally, right? It's all spiritual. All right, so we have to understand what this dietary law is teaching us. Because again, that's the saying, right? They say you are what you eat. All right. So some people have the spirit of they'll call you stuff after an animal. Oh, you're acting like a hog. Right? Oh, you're acting like a pig. They'll call Eve a chicken head, an ostrich. Jake, you could be a lion, right? You take on the spirit of a beast. Even martial arts is predicated off of beast, man. You got fighting styles like the crouching tiger and the damn crane and the damn whatever fighting styles they got nowadays, man. Fighting styles named after animals, because man is observing these animals. And you got monkey's paw. I think that's a fighting style, right? And people observe these beasts and they take on their attributes, man. Right? So you don't want to be swine's flesh or be an unclean animal, right? We are clean beasts on a spiritual level, right? Even when you read Micah, let's get that in Micah, the 4th chapter. Okay, this is how the Lord likens us. Micah chapter 4 and verse 13. Arise and thresh, O daughter of Zion, for I will make thine horn iron and make thy hoofs brass. So we are a beast with hooves, right? Cloven footed, split hoof. That's how the Lord likens Israel. And thou shalt beat in pieces many people, and I will consecrate their gain unto the Lord and their substance unto the Lord of the whole earth. So we are likened unto a beast with a horn and hoofs, like a ram, a clean beast. Even Yahweh Shai, when he sat the believe it was the 5,000, he set them in companies of 50 on the grass. Let me see if I can actually get that. Right? He set them in companies of 50s in the grass and the Gospels. Right? Let's actually get that account. Lead us in the book of, let's see, Matthew. Bear with me. Just want to get this precept very quickly. Okay, here we have it. This is Mark chapter 6 and verse 30. Let's see where I want to start. Mark chapter 6 and 38. He saith unto them, how many loaves have ye? Go and see. And when they knew, they say 5 and 2 fishes. So Yahweh Shai is about to feed the multitude, 5 and 2 fishes. And he commanded them to make all sit down by companies upon the green grass. Why upon the green grass? Why is that emphasized? Because that goes back to Psalms. This is showing you that the Lord is the shepherd and we are the sheep. The Psalms 23 says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down by green pastures. So the Lord made them sit down in the green grass to symbolize our people being the sheep and the Lord being the shepherd. And the word that he gave us was the word of the Most High God. That was the word that he gave us. And it's our job to follow that same system as these ruminant beasts and not just swallow it down whole and forget about it, but to meditate on it, eat it, keep it in your mind, and keep going through that cycle of the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All right. And they sat down by ranks, by hundreds and by 50s. So let's go back to Leviticus, the 11th chapter. All right. Leviticus chapter 11. And again, that saying, like we brought out earlier, it says chew on it. So we're chewing on that word, man. If you watch a cow chewing a cud, he's not rushing. Right? He's taking his time, breaking it down little by little. And you might be like, damn, what the hell? He's just chewing it, holding it in his mouth. No, he has to kind of keep going into this thing. All right. So let's read on. Leviticus chapter 11 and 4. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof. You got certain brothers who, and we're really first and foremost certain beasts who don't have every attribute. Right? They don't have every attribute. Certain beasts don't part the hoof, but again, they're cloven-footed. Certain beasts part the hoof and are cloven-footed, but don't chew the cud. Certain beasts chew the cud, but they don't part the hoof. Remember, we are these on a spiritual level, not saying it's literal, but the Lord likens us unto sheep. We have to have every characteristic of a clean animal on a spiritual level, right? We have to chew that cud. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof, as the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. So you can't eat camel. I believe in the Quran, the Arabs, so you can eat camel meat. That's off. Well, where in the Bible does the Lord say you can eat camel meat? Now you can say a Muslim, you can be a Muslim, say, look, well, that's not what the Quran say, but that's what I saw last time. All right, these Arabs can eat camel meat, man. So they're not the men of the Lord. Eating camel meat in Dubai. Okay, why are Muslims allowed to eat camels but not horses? Eating camel meat first time in Saudi Arabia. Why is camel meat forbidden for Jews but not for Muslims? So they can eat camel. They just got to make wudu after, right? So that's madness, man. Now you could be a Muslim and come out and say, well, look, well, that's not what the Quran says. I read the Quran, I've been a Muslim my whole life. I don't have to, sit there and eat that, whatever the case may be. But guess what, man? The Lord said that you, as a man of the Lord, you can't eat the camel. All right, let's read on. And when you look at the camel is, it got a spirit to it, man. Like a sloppy kind of, no discipline kind of wild spirit. Those other animals that we can eat are pretty calm, docile, like a sheep is docile. They're meek, and those are lowly animals. A sheep is a lowly animal. That's the spirit the Lord gave it. A cow is a lowly animal. That's the spirit the Lord gave it. A deer, the animals that we eat aren't predators. The beasts that we eat aren't violent beasts. They're not full of rage and full of filth and full of pride. The animals that the Lord allowed us to eat are lowly animals, meek animals, humble animals. So the dietary law shows you a lot about Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and about his people. That's why the Lord likens us unto sheep. And then he likens other nations unto other animals as well. Right? So let's read on. And you'll see that all throughout the dietary law that we're not a nation to eat violent, proud, just run-of-the-mill kind of beast, man. And we're going to go through that. And that's a direct reflection of what we should be doing in the spirit. And the spirits that we should be intaking. Because those are spirits the Lord put on these animals. Right? The Lord put a humble, meek spirit on the sheep. He put a lowly, meek spirit on the cow. On the deer, he put these spirits on these animals, man. These are the animals that you can eat. Let's read on. Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 6. Oh, Slaki, verse 5. And the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean to you. So you can't just fall short of one like we brought out earlier. You have to have every characteristic. Split hoof, cloven-footed, and chew the cud. That's how Yahweh Bashmel Shah gets down. Right? Split hoof, cloven-footed, and chew the cud. All right? So you can't eat a coney. Let's pull this up so brothers can kind of understand about the coney. Right? Let's pull up that coney. Like a badger, right? A rock badger, coney, a hyrax. So let's pull up the rock badger. Right? You got to be out your mind to eat a badger. I'm gonna just put that out there. This doesn't look like food, man. You know, you're not gonna look at that and say, okay, that looks like something I should be eating. Look at this. It's like eating a mouse, a fat mouse. Now you might say, no, it's different. It's a badger. You wouldn't understand. Well, look, I'm not. Look, we understand according to the law, right? Someone you wouldn't understand. It's a badger. And then Jake, oh, shouldn't knock it till you try it. You tell the Jake, I'm not eating that. I'm not eating that. And what do they say? You ain't tried yet, did you? You ain't tried yet, did you? And then Jake, well, I didn't try. Well, you right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You can't knock it till you try. Here, eat some badger. You know? Next thing you know, you're eating the damn hyrax, man. Now think about it. If this beast lives in the rocks, what do you think it's eating? Other things that live in the rocks, man. Now the Lord said that it does what it chooses to cut. Let's go back to that law. So it'll chew that cut, but guess what? Let's go back to it. Where's this coney at? But it divideth not the hoof, right? He is unclean to you, man. So we're not eating rock mice, man. Rock rats, big rock rats. They're unclean. And the hair, so you can't eat rabbit. Because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. All right? And the swine, because though he divide the hoof and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. Right? So no eating swine. The swine does exhibit two characteristics of a clean animal, but yet they're not perfect. They're not perfect, man. Right? They're filthy, abominable. Right? Where's the swine at? So now they brought out that pork is causing cancer. Where is it at? Look at this. This is from one day ago. 5 foods that can cause cancer: bacon, sausage, hot dogs. Jake, you love them dogs, man. Put them dogs on the grill. All right? Luncheon meat, that's that Oscar Myers. Right? That's your fried bologna and eggs, man. Fried bologna, eggs, and grits. A pork roll, salami, and beef jerky. So you got certain meats that could cause cancer, man. And pork is one of those meals. Pork is not swine is not supposed to be food. It was never intended for it to be food. It only became food by the hand of the. Look, oh, this makes my stomach crawl, man. Look at that. Right? Madness. Meat and cancer. So they got sausages and hot dogs, bacon and salami, causes cancer. That's group 1. Now they say group 2 probably causes cancer. Well, it probably causes cancer because you got pork included in it, man. You included the lamb and the beef with the pork. So beef don't cause cancer. Lamb don't cause. Who eat lambs all day? Okay, I got cancer. Right? All they ate was lamb and drank water. Now they got cancer. So they put this category and said it probably causes cancer. Well, why do you think that? Because you included the data from the pork with the same information, the data from the lamb. So that's why it probably causes cancer. But the common denominator is the pork. So whoever put this together, their mind wasn't right. So bacon causes cancer. Right? Tell it to your auntie. I've been eating pork my whole life. Hey, my great grandmother, man, they'll eat chitlins, man. And certain foods, we was growing up and they would cook it in that pot. And we know we wasn't eating that. That was they kind of meat. Right? It'd be that pot cooking. It'd be like, damn, 4 in the afternoon or in the evening. You're like, look, that's they food. Right? We had our food. They made us our food. But then that was like they kind of food. And they sit down and they eating God knows what, man. Chicken feet. Right? Chitlins. My great grandfather ate squirrel head, man. I saw him. We went over my my so-called great uncle's house, and he had this big tree. I can't remember what fruit they had in the yard. It was I can't think of it off the top of it. I think it was walnuts or something. They had something growing off the tree, and he saw a squirrel, and he had this gun. He shot the squirrel off the tree, man. He went to pick up the squirrel. And he took the squirrel and put it in his pocket. Right? He took the squirrel home, skinned the squirrel, chopped it up in aluminum foil, put it in the oven, 425 high on bake, top rack. 20 minutes, took 5 minutes for it to cool down. Oven mitt, take it out the rack. Open up the aluminum foil. Nasty juice, and crack open that head, and he's eating squirrel meat. Right? So our people's minds ain't right, man. So you just can't eat anything. So what else we got? Pork is also banned in some countries due to risk of the African swine fever. So keep playing around, Jakes, if you want to, man. You're going to get ASAP. You're going to get the African swine fever. And a lot of you Jakes, you eating pork, man, you got high blood pressure, gout, diabetes, heart disease, high cholesterol. You don't remember anything, your hands swelling up. You go to the bathroom and, everything's a disaster. So you might get African swine fever. The FDA has banned the importation of pork from Vietnam, Zambia, South Africa, Czech Republic, Bulgaria, Cambodia, Mongolia, Moldova, and Belgium. Other countries that have banned pork imports from certain countries include Indonesia, Greece, Myanmar, Serbia, Slovakia, South Korea, and Germany. Right, so let's pull this up. So you can't find pork in these countries. They're banned in many countries. Right? So like they're banned in many countries. Iran, Mauritania, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Algeria, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Yemen, Somalia, Sudan, Afghanistan, Kuwait, Mali, Libya, Pakistan, and many more. Right? So these are predominantly so-called Muslim countries. Right? So you can't eat that, man. Right? You can't have no swine on your mind, no pork on your fork. Right? Or you'll also get, not only would you get the African swine fever, you'll get trichinosis. Right? You'll get trichinosis. Go ahead and eat those pork chops if you want to. You'll have this parasite crawling in your brain, making itself look at this. Just that worm under a microscope. Those might be his two eyes, or these might be his two eyes. So keep playing around if you want to, man. Tomorrow, oh, it's not that bad. Okay, put a little bit of hot sauce on it. Okay, well, my grandma make it the right way. Right? Well, I've heard people say, well, you couldn't eat pork back then because there was no pure way to clean the pig. They didn't have the right science to be able to purify the pork. You can't purify the pork. You get trichinosis and African swine fever. Look at this. Right? Look at this. The pork tapeworm. Let's see if we can get into this. The pork tapeworm. Let's play this. Look at that. All right? And they put them little teeth and it stick into your brain. Not tomorrow. What was that precept? Was that Genesis? Well, brother, if you put the pork down, you'll be able to remember, man. Right? So people they got pork tapeworms. Okay, they say animated scanning electron micrograph of the head of a pork tapeworm, showing the hooks it uses to cling to its host. Tapeworms are parasitic flatworms that live in the digestive tract of their vertebrate host. T. solium infects pigs and humans in Asia, Africa, South America, parts of Southern Europe, and North America. And that's the whole world, right? And the larval stage, it causes cystocirrhosis or cystocirrhosis, right? Which is a major cause of seizures in humans. A major cause of seizures in humans. So you catch a seizure, cancer, heart attack. I've even heard that a pig bit a rattlesnake and gave the rattlesnake poison. Right? Pig bite harm. Oh, man. Look at this. Farmer dies after fight with pig that bites. Yeah, see that? You get bitten by a pig, man, that's bad. Okay, let me see if I can get this. All right, so this is let's see if I can get this pig. Okay, they have it all throughout here, but you can look more into it on your own. All right, so look at this. Bacteria isolated from pig bite wound infections in humans. Barnum reported that the microbiology of 6 patients who developed localized wound infections after being bitten or gorged by pigs. Both monobacterial and polymicrobial infections were encountered. One patient did not grow any organisms from his wound or blood cultures, likely due to prior antibiotic exposure. Right? So they list all types of things that happens when you get bit by a pig. Right? So that's a horrible thing, man. If a brother get bit by a pig, that's pure judgment from your God, from Yahweh, WATCHMEN Yahushai. So no eating swine's flesh. Right? No eating swine's flesh. Even the demons sought that they might be thrown and cast into the swine. Right? When you read the Gospels. So let's read on. Remember, again, every beast has a particular spirit. What is the swine known for? Let's go to 2 Peter. The swine is known for never being clean. All right. 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 19. While they promised them liberty, they themselves are the servants of corruption. Salakia. They themselves are the servants of corruption, for of whom a man is overcome, of the same is he brought in bondage. So you have certain men, they'll teach the word and they'll promise them liberty. They'll say, look, brother, liberty is grace, right? You have grace. The Lord has hope for you. Just repent, put away sin. Men to teach that, but behind the scenes, they're the ones that's really sinning. They're the slave of sin, a servant of corruption. For of whom a man is overcome, of the same is he brought in bondage. So a man might overcome eating pork and might start eating right. Then he might go back into the pork and be brought in bondage under that pork demon. For if they have escaped the pollutions of the world through the knowledge of the Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, they are again entangled therein and overcome. The latter end is worse with them than the beginning. So certain men, they'll overcome the world and they'll overcome sin and they'll get righteous. They'll grow their beard out. And they'll keep the new moon. They may keep a few Sabbath days, maybe a year, maybe 4 years, 5 years. Then they'll go back to who they used to be. And they'll be worse. For it had been better for them not to have known the way of righteousness, than after they had known it, to turn from the holy commandment delivered unto them. But what? But it happened unto them according to the true proverb. The dog is turned to his own vomit again, and the sow, a sow is a pig, swine, and the sow that was washed to her wallowing in the mire. Right? So you are what you eat, man. A pig is known, even if you wash it and clean it, it's going to go back to the mud, the dirt, and the mire. You could give it a bath, you could clip its nails, you could brush his hair, put a bow tie on it, put him at the pig show, give him a blue ribbon at the state fair. He's still, at the end of the day, it's going to go back to the mire. All right? The Lord said, cast not your pearls before what? Before swine. St. Mark chapter 7 and 6. Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye pearls before swine. Who's the swine right here? Men. So certain men, they have the same trait of swine. Men that are that was in the truth and went back to the world, they're swine now. They're unclean, full of demons and all types of parasites. Don't cast your pearl before a swine. Swine meaning somebody unworthy, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you, because swine have no sense of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So you're not allowed by your God to eat these things, man. You have a beautiful diet, right? A beautiful diet given to you from Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? Leviticus 11 and 8. Of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch. They are unclean to you. And remember, in the book of Maccabees, 2nd Maccabees, you had men, your forefathers, our forefathers rather, were rather willing to die than to transgress the commandments of the Most High. Right? This is 2nd Maccabees, chapter 7 and 1. I'm not going to read this whole chapter, but I encourage you, brothers who haven't read it, to read this. And if you have read it, read it again and see the zeal and discipline and faith of these brothers who were tortured because they would not eat swine's flesh. 2nd Maccabees chapter 7 and 1. And it came to pass also that 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh, and were tormented with scourges and whips. How many so-called black men can you get from the world that say, look, eat this bacon or be tortured? Eat this swine's flesh or be tortured with whips and scourges. And they got way worse than scourges and whips when you read this chapter. You had a man that had his arms and arms cut off and his legs, a man that was scalped, a man that was fried alive in a pan, a man that had his tongue cut out because they said, I would rather die than to eat pork. And that's the spirit that we have to have, right? We have to have, and it's not just pork, it's we're willing to die for any commandment, any law, any statute, and any commandment, given to us by Yahweh Bashmi Yahusha. All right, Leviticus 11:9. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters. Whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters, and the seas, and in the rivers, them shall ye eat. So of course you can only eat fish that has fins and scales. If it come out the water that don't have fins and scales, we're not eating it. Right? For an example, let me close out some of these. Right, we're not eating what they call shellfish. Right? Shellfish. Look at this. Clams, oysters, mussels. Right? Let's pull this up. Damn. Bottom feeders. Right? Let's get a better one. Let's not play any games and pull up the crab. That's Jake and your seafood boil, right? Look at this. Oh man, that looks so disgusting, man. Right? Just why would you even think about eating that? Right? It doesn't even look like, I'm pretty sure our forefathers was disgusted when they saw this, man. Look at the legs. See, when you're in the truth, you get a different spirit how you look at this, man. You look at this and it makes you sick. Even the smell, if you smell pork, you leave the room. I know if I'm anywhere and I smell pork, I'm out. We can't stand that smell. You go to the damn grocery store, you gotta walk past the seafood, the seafood section, and it make you damn near want to throw up, man. You got your shirt over your nose, you picking out your fresh fish, you kind of getting out of there. So this is a vile kingdom. Look at this. As if that lemon is supposed to do something. So I saw a crab eating his own body, man. Then I saw another crab eating his own babies. So these are look at this filthy. This is abominable. Okay, but the lemon is supposed to make it all right. And that green stuff, was that parsley? So they make the lemon butter, they throw that sizzling steak on there, right? You go to these Outbacks and these grocery. Look at this, right? Oh, see that? Oh man, right? So these people are sick, man. People are sick, right? These people are sick. Bunch of creeping things. Right? Let's go to Psalm chapter 104. It's a tough one. This is a tough cold cut, man. This Psalm chapter 104 and verse 25. So is this great and wide sea, wherein are things creeping innumerable. It's like innumerable, both small and great beasts. So you have things in the sea, an infinite amount of creeping things. You can't eat the creeping things in a great and wide sea. Remember when Yahweh Shah was on the scene, what did they eat? They ate fish, man. Right? They ate fish. Just John chapter 21 and verse 9. And as soon as they were come to land, they saw a fire and coals there, and fish laid thereon, and bread. Yahweh Shah saith unto them, bring up the fish which ye have now caught. So they wasn't eating crab. Yahweh Shah didn't eat lobster. He wasn't cracking open a clam, man. He ate fish that had fins and scales. That's plain. So no, hell no. We're not eating. Where's this at again? Crab and lobster, man. Oh. And that's a big thing in Maryland, man. That's a big thing, right? They have that newspaper They crack it open, they lay it all down, they get the hammer, and they start going to town. They put Old Bay on it. Or they call them seafood boils. Look at this. What's it? Seafood boils near me. Look at this. Seafood boils near me. This is sick. Put up a seafood boil. Right? Corn on the cob and right potatoes and crab and shrimp, man. Then you have people doing look at Eve. Right? You type in seafood mukbang, you got Eve. Look at this. So this is why our people's minds ain't right, man. Right? Our people's minds ain't right. They'll sit down and they'll eat a whole extra large crab and an extra large shrimp and an extra large lot. Look at this. Oh, this stuff is sickening. Right? Look at this. And she's trying to be like the Moabite. See, Eve is only doing that because the Moabite is doing that. The Moabite eats anything. Look at her. The Moabite gets off on that. He'll eat squid, octopus, lobster. He'll eat any. The Moabite man will eat more than any other nation on the earth. More than the Hamites. The Hamites, they'll eat this stuff too, but they don't really have access to it like that. They're too busy jumping up and down. So who can jump the highest? But if the Hamite had access to this, they'll do the same damn thing, man. Look at this. Oh. That's what the Lord is going to destroy a lot of people, man. Yahweh WATCHMEN is going to destroy men that aren't not just men that commit adultery and women that are whores, not men that just break the Sabbath, right? And women that aren't submissive, but people that break the dietary law. Look at this. Now Jake is in it. And I guarantee this was this woman's idea. Baby, we should try it. Come on, watch this video with me. Jake is not going to sit down, as far as I know, and do a mukbang. Jake might do some, he might rob somebody, right? Jake, they'll steal. Jake, they'll murder, right? They'll do evil things. But you rarely see videos of Jake sitting down doing a mukbang. It's always Eve and the Moabite or the so-called white man. Look at this. Look at this guy. So he's going to be destroyed, man. Look at this. Let's go to the book of Isaiah. All right, let's go to Isaiah chapter 66. These people of the earth are vile, man. They're vile beasts, man. Isaiah chapter. That's why when the kingdom of heaven is established, if we see somebody trying to eat pork or eating a creepy thing, they're gonna get their head chopped off, man. We're gonna rule the kingdom with a rod of iron. We better not see no damn nation eating something outside of the dietary law. Isaiah chapter 66 and 17. Straight to the point. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh and the abomination. The abomination is anything that's off limits according to the law, right? That could be a snail, right? That could be a centipede. That can be an eagle. That abomination sums up a lot of different things that you aren't allowed to eat. Thus said the Lord, right? And the mouse, right? And Jake, you said, well, I never ate a mouse. Okay, keep eating that Chinese food if you want to, man. You should know better by now. Jake, if you're still eating so-called Chinese food, then you need to stop. Oh, but it's Chinese food. It's beef fried rice. It's not shrimp fried rice. It's beef fried rice. Okay, well, keep eating that beef fried rice if you want to, man. Yeah, okay, I'm going to keep eating. Ain't nothing happened to me yet. Right. All right, well, okay, brother. Go ahead, keep eating it, man. Yeah, well, I'm gonna keep eating it because I follow the laws. I follow the laws, brother. I mean, I keep the Sabbath day. Well, so you being over righteous. You being over righteous. I can eat the Chinese food. All right, brother. Keep eating that beef fried rice if you want to, man. When's the last time you see when you go to the grocery store, right? They have the let me see, you got the grocery store truck, right? That dropped the food off. Right? Kroger, that's a Midwestern. They got it in Detroit. They got them in Michigan. I think they got some in Illinois, right? They got Kroger trucks, right? But what you might have a Giant, a Publix, a Safeway, right? A Shoppers World, ShopRite, Food Depot, whatever you want to call it. But where's the food truck, right? ShopRite. Where's the food truck for the Moabites? When's the last time Yum Yums, Happies, or whatever they call it, had the truck they had a bay door, a loading dock with a truck backed in, and they offloaded the food? Where are they getting this food from? And well, we know where they're getting it from. The videos are out now. We've been new. At first, it was speculation. It was just talk. It was a reoccurring so-called rumor, or maybe the Moabites, they're feeding you cats, they're feeding you. Well, they are doing it, man. It's not a urban hood tale anymore. They're literally giving you cats, dogs. Now you can say, no, I say beef fried rice. They don't say cats and dogs. They would have told me. Okay, well, all right, brother. Keep going to these Chinese stores that are strategically set up in every hood and every community. Right? Where's the Chinese stores in the so-called white man neighborhood? Chinese store near me. Chinese food. Right? What we got? Chinese buffet. And if you go to a Chinese buffet, you're extremely wicked. I'm gonna just put that out there. Now you can say, well, show me in the law where it says you're extremely wicked. Well, all right, if you go to a Chinese buffet and you just sit there and you just do that, then that's off. Look at this. Damn Chinese buffet. You got to be out of your mind. But that takes time, and it's true, right? You got to grow, right? You got to get built up. The Lord said, one man esteemeth one day above another esteemeth every day alike. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. Right? So you got to be fully persuaded in your mind that you shouldn't be eating this stuff, man. Right now, they actually have videos. Let's see, Chinese food. Right? They got caught. Look at this. This is what they're into, man. Right? This is what they're into. You think they care about what they're feeding you, so-called black man, Hispanic and Native American man? You think they say, well, these are the Israelites. Let's make sure they're following the laws. Let's make sure they're following the commandments. Let's make sure that they're following Leviticus 11, Deuteronomy chapter 14. When the last time you went to the Chinese store and said, let me get a number 5, right? And they say, okay, well, you remember Leviticus chapter 11. They don't say that, man. Buy, come on, buy. Drink my rice, and they make all of these damn sounds. Look at this. Dog meat. And this guy, he's feeling it. This is a hell of a day for him, man. He's making big money on dog meat. Dog legs. Look at this. Look at these dogs. They don't know what's coming to them. They have no idea what's going on. Lost. Right? That's why we got to put these nations in slavery, man. They have to go to slavery because they don't know how to rule it. They don't know how to deal with the beasts of the earth. Esau's put them into zoos, locking them up for money, making a profit off of them, torturing them, Esau's using them for experiments. You got lab rats. Even the rats are being, they're vermin and creeping things, but Esau's taking them, putting the helmets on them, having them run into walls and mazes and killing rats and, running weird bugged out experiments and cloning the animals. Then the Moabite man is locking them up and eating them up. And the earth has to be restored back to the hands of the righteous. So let's go back into the dietary law, right? Oh, let's finish this. Isaiah 66 and 17. It reads, and the mouse shall be consumed together, said the Lord, right? So you cannot eat any abominable thing. Let's go back to Leviticus chapter 11. Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 10. And all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you. They shall be even an abomination unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcasses an abomination. Whatsoever hath no fins, nor scales in the waters, that shall be an abomination unto you. Right? Now, let me pull this up. This is an article. I'm not going to read the whole article. It actually shows that lobster was prison food. Crab used to be prison food. So, I encourage you brothers to look into that, man. Lobster was fed unto all of the prisoners. And they were feed it. Look at this. And instead of this leading to seafood festivals and celebrations, like the clam bake, colonists were just super embarrassed by it, all of what they called the cockroaches of the sea. These hard-shelled creatures were even used as fertilizer and fish bait because there were just so many around. So it was called, even Esau knew that it was the cockroach of the sea. Everybody knows that you shouldn't be eating that, except Jake. Lobster was also known as the poor man's meal because the overabundance of these guys made it easy for people with no money to get their protein. In fact, check this out. These crustaceans were fed to prisoners, apprentices, and slaves. So they fed lobster to you in slavery. They fed crab to you in slavery. They fed pork to you in slavery. They fed you poor man's food, cockroaches. Esau knew the colonists, which were slave masters, they knew that they was feeding God's chosen people cockroaches. They knew that. They knew that you're an Israelite, man. You're God's chosen people, right? The children of Yahweh Bashmi Awashad, the children of Jacob. They said, we got these Negroes in slavery, feeding the cockroaches of the sea. Right? Feed them the cockroaches of the sea. Feed them lobster. Now, Jake, you'll spend all your money to go get lobster. Especially the so-called black woman, the black man. In America, man, I mean, hell, you'll go through hell and high water to eat for a woman to eat some crab, man. You want to take a woman out nowadays in the world, and you take her out to eat, she's turning that menu straight to the back and looking at that crab, looking at that lobster, that's steak and lobster, $39.99, $49.99. I want to get that. Can you make sure that it has this? Right? So you can't eat these things, man. These are the cockroaches of the sea. And that's out of Esau's own words. It used to be fertilizer. I mean, what people, feces is fertilizer. Lobster is not food. It was originally fertilizer. Like feces, trash, garbage. Right? That's how serious this is, man. Look at this. Instead of this leading to epic clam bakes with buckets filled with butter, the colonists were embarrassed by these unsightly cockroaches of the sea. Right? And it was used as fertilizer by the Gadites, Native Americans. So Gad, Northern Kingdom wasn't doing that, man. They wasn't eating lobster. It wasn't eating crab. It said that's something we're not going to eat. So we're not eating these things. Where is it at? Here's another article. And if you want to, you might deal with paralytic shellfish poisoning. You might say, okay, well, it's not that bad. I'll take my chance with lobster. Okay, but what does this say? This is from DOH, I believe, Department of Health.Washington.gov. People can become ill from eating shellfish contaminated with paralytic shellfish poison. This biotoxin affects the nervous system and paralyzes muscles, thus the term paralytic shellfish poison. High levels of paralytic shellfish poison can cause severe illness and death. Right? So these are the things that you're tempting Yahweh Ba'ashmi Shai with, man. Because you're deciding to eat shellfish and you'll die. You'll be paralyzed. Your arm won't move. Your back will lock up. Right? It'll go straight to your brain. You won't be able to think. Everything's not food. All right? Everything is not food. The Lord tells you what you can and cannot eat. All right, so no pork, no shellfish. Remember, these are the bottom feeders, right? Their job is to clean the ocean. Let's see if I can get that. Right, their job is lucky here. And the ocean, deep sea bottom feeders eat jellyfish and squid, and in doing so, they absorb carbon dioxide, keeping it from going back into the atmosphere. In the British Isles alone, these fish help clean up 1 million metric tons of carbon dioxide every year. So they serve a purpose, man. Their purpose is not to eat. Their purpose is to clean. Right? Their purpose is to clean. So we're not going to go too deep into it, but that's the job of a bottom feeder. And there are actual videos that you can see where you have clams and you have oysters in the ocean. It's like this tank. And then you have a tank without clams and oysters, and they go through a process of time, and you see that in time that the one with the clams and the oysters, the water's a lot cleaner, right? The water's a lot cleaner. So their job is to clean the waters, right? See if we can kind of do that. Let's see. Right? So that's what they do, right? They eat algae, they help with the atmosphere, they allow the other fishes to breathe. So they have a purpose. The purpose is not, it shouldn't be on your plate. It should not be on your plate. Let's read on. Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 13. See if I have something else on that. Okay, and the shrimp, right? Let's pull up that shrimp. Shrimp is a direct cockroach of the sea. Now they're saying it's not. You see that? Therefore, shrimp aren't cockroaches. They are cockroaches. They are literally cockroaches of the ocean, man. Jake told me not my shrimps. Right? Let's pull this up. Shrimp are called cockroaches of the sea because they have many similarities with cockroaches. cockroaches and shrimp have similar eating habits. They're both cold-blooded. They have common behavioral traits, and they are both scavengers. See how animals have behavioral traits? You eat them animals, them spirits gonna hop on you. That's what people's minds be all bad eating these unclean animals, man. All right. So they have the same so-called, what they say, ancestors. They're related to each other. They're directly related to each other. So no, you cannot eat shrimp. Look at this. Same thing. Exact same beast. Creeping thing. You got the cockroach of the land. They call them arthropod scavengers. The decomposers of the earth, not fit for human consumption. They were meant for the consumption or consummation of dead, rotten flesh to keep the earth clean of corruption. Also, they are fluid-sucking parasites that spread sickness and death. So their job is to clean up the filth of the ocean and the filth of the waters. But now you got Jake cracking it open and putting it in the damn skillet, eating it, man, with butter. Right? So let's go back to the law. Leviticus chapter 11 and 13. And these are they which ye shall have an abomination among the fowls. They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination. The eagle and the ossifrage and the osprey. So these are certain birds you can't eat. These are more predator birds. And these birds, they tend to swallow their food whole. All right. They'll eat a mouse. They'll eat anything. And the vulture, a vulture is a detrivore, right? Meaning they'll eat dead bodies. So you got your herbivores, which are your plant-eating beasts, your carnivores, your meat-eating beasts, and your detrivores are your animals that eat dead things, right? So a vulture, you can't eat a vulture. And the kite after his kind, every raven after his kind, and the owl, and the nighthawk, and the cacao, and the hawk after his kind, and the little owl, and the cormorant, and the great owl, right? So these are certain beasts you can't eat. Now, if you look up the eagle, right? Let's see. Type in birds with crops. So crops is part of a bird that allows them to store their food in before they actually send it to the digestive tract. Every bird does not have a crop. And I wanted to put up a list of the birds that have a crop and the birds that don't have a crop. So let's see if I can get this. Okay, say eagles do, they have one. In a bird's digestive system, the crop is an expanded muscular pouch near the gullet or throat. It's part of the digestive tract, essentially an enlarged part of the esophagus. As with most other organisms that have a crop, it is used temporarily to store food. Not all bird species have one. In adult doves and pigeons, it can produce crop milk to feed newly hatched birds. Scavenging birds such as vultures will gorge themselves when prey is abundant, causing their crops to bulge. They subsequently sit, sleep, and have torpid to digest their food. Most raptors, right? So they call those birds that you can't eat a raptor, birds of prey. Those are your eagles, your falcons, your hawks, your ravens. You can't eat raptor-like birds. They call them hypercarnivorous. And they eat other birds or mice or things of that nature. Again, the birds that we eat in their natural state, let's pull that back up. Shalakia, like you can eat quail, you can eat pigeon, dove, right? You can eat turkey, you can eat chicken, right? These are certain birds that you can eat. You can't eat these predator birds. That's what the Lord said, man. You can't eat a buzzard, a vulture. And really, you got to know that, man. You got to know what you can eat and what you can't eat. All right? So scavenging birds, such as vultures, will gorge themselves when prey is abundant, causing their crop to bulge. They subsequently sit sleepy or have torpor to digest their food. Most raptors, including hawks, eagles, and vultures, have a crop. However, owls do not. Similarly, all true quail have a crop, but button quail do not. Chickens, turkeys, ducks, geese possess a crop, as do parrots. Right? So that's one trait of these birds. Now, the birds that we can't eat are your raptors or your predator birds. That's why you can't eat the vulture. You can't eat the eagle. You can't eat the ostrich. You can't eat the osprey, because these birds are eating other unclean animals. An eagle is going to eat a mouse. So you won't be able to eat the eagle because it'll eat a mouse. Right? A quail is not going to eat a mouse. A dove is not going to eat a rat. But an ostrich and an osprey will eat anything. They'll eat any beast. The vulture will eat anything dead or alive. The raven will. These animals, they eat nighttime insects and mice, man. And rats and rodents and badgers. There's one video of a hawk flying, picking up a goat off of a mountain and dropping a goat and eating a goat, man. You don't want to eat nothing like that. Like I said, the majority of the beasts and fowls that we eat are lowly animals, humble animals, non-violent, raging beasts. So I guarantee if you eat an eagle, you're going to have a spirit on you, man. A nighthawk and pig, an alligator, you're going to have demons on you. Because you're going to have those spirits of those beasts. Right? So let's read on. It says, and the little owl, and the cormorant, and the great owl. And I encourage brothers to look up some of these creatures, man, because these are things that we're not really familiar with. Like an ostrich. Let's pull up an ostrich. So, Jake, you can know. Because guess what's coming? Jacob's trouble. Not saying Yahweh Bashman Rashad can't provide for you, but hey, look, you're going to have to know these things. Here's an ostrich. You can't eat that. It's unclean. Let's see, kite. Can't eat a kite. That's like a falcon. All right, you can't eat that. What else did the law list? An ostrich and osprey. Let's pull up an osprey. You can't eat an osprey. That looks like a falcon too. So you can't eat that. We know what a vulture is. You can't eat a vulture, a raven, an owl, a nighthawk. Let's pull up a cuckoo. That's something that we're not familiar with. Let's pull this up. I don't believe that's what that bird was. Let's pull it. Let's go to it in the law. All right, let's actually pull it up. I could be wrong. Let's pull this up through the spirit. Right. So this bird, cacao gull, seagull, sea moon, maybe an extinct bird, exact meaning unknown. Right. So we can't eat it. Right. Something like a seagull of that nature. You can't eat a hawk. Let's read on. Leviticus chapter 11 and 18. And the swan and the pelican and the gier eagle. So you can't eat a swan. You can't eat a duck. Right? I heard brother saying, well, you got to try duck. And man, it tastes good. Well, I'm not eating duck. Right? The Lord, you can't eat these creatures after their kind, man. You can't eat a pelican, a flamingo, a crane, those water-like predator birds. You can't eat that. Pull this up. Can't eat a goose. Right? You can't eat duck, a golden goose. Right? You can't eat these things. Right? And you damn sure can't eat an owl. You got to be out of your mind to eat an owl. All right? You definitely can't eat an owl. Look at this. You have demons on you, man. Oh yeah, I just eat owl meat. Right? Me the brother say, oh yeah, I just eat. I don't really eat that chicken stuff. Them, all of that. No, I don't deal with that. No lamb. I just eat owl meat. And then look up an owl. You're gonna know what kind of brother you're dealing with. Right? You can't deal with nobody like that. Look at this. The Most High has some creatures, man. Look at these. Look at the works of Yahweh WATCHMEN. The Most High has all types of files that he's created. Get this one. See that? Right? So you can't eat the owl, according to Yahweh WATCHMEN. Right? Now remember, these animals, they eat things that come out at night. Like an owl is a nocturnal creature. And their job is to eat things that creep forth in the nighttime. This is Psalm chapter 104 and verse. Let's start at. Bear with me. Psalm chapter 104 and 20. Thou makest darkness, and it is night, wherein all the beasts of the forest do creep forth. Right? So you can't eat these creatures that come out at night and that hunt mice and rats and squirrels and rodents. There's certain creatures are going to come out at night, and Yahweh WATCHMEN set them up for to be in that spirit, man. All right, so let's go back to Leviticus chapter 11. Remember, we may be we're going to be pilgrims on the earth. And you're going to have to know, you might be out there in the wilderness, you might see a bird, and you got to make that judgment call, hey, can I eat that, bro? You got to look at certain characteristics of it, say, well, I see those large talons. I see that I can't eat, that's an eagle. You got to look at that beast. Okay, can I eat that? You're not going to have an app on your phone all the time. You're going to have that understanding to know what can be eaten, what can't be eaten. Otherwise, you're going to be eating some leaves all day because you don't know the law. So you'll be sitting up there plucking flowers all day while you going to have other men. Oh, look, I can eat that. That's a split hoof, cloven bottom. I studied it and choose to cut, and we got some food tonight. Oh, yeah, look at that. That's a quail right there. Oh, that's an eagle. We're not going to eat the eagle. We're going to eat the quail. And our forefathers, they knew that because they had to do sacrifices with these clean animals too. So they had to know and how to look to determine what animal was clean, what animal wasn't clean. Not only for the sake of the eating and the diet, but for the sake of performing sacrifices to Yahweh WATCHMEN. You can't sacrifice an unclean animal on the altar. It has to be according to the rites and the ceremonies that the Lord has set up. All right. So let's read on to Leviticus. Leviticus chapter 11 and verse. So now there are certain birds that you can and can't eat. You have to know that. Leviticus chapter 11 and 20. All fowls that creep, going upon all four, shall be an abomination unto you. Right? So you may say, well, okay, it says fowls that creep, that go on all four. You got brothers saying, well, that's talking about chicken. Well, that's not talking about chicken. Chickens don't creep, and chickens don't go on all four. When you look up an insect, the insect has six, what they call 6 legs, but it has really its main 4. Let's pull up the 6 legs. All right, let's pull this up. And that was a good example right there. That see, they're showing 8 leg. Let's get an example of that. Let's pull up dragonfly. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? A dragonfly is like a fowl that creeps. A fowl that creeps is a flying, creeping thing or a flying insect. This is an example of a flying, creeping thing. All right. These fowls that creep are in the same or the next verse, they're called flying, creeping things. So no, you can't say Leviticus 11 and 20 is talking about chicken. It's talking about flying, creeping things like a dragonfly, like a cicada. A cicada is a flying, creeping thing. See that? You can't eat a cicada. You can't eat a dragonfly. Just because it flies doesn't mean you can eat it. These things fly, but they creep on the ground. Okay? Now, that's what Leviticus chapter 11 and 20 is saying. So you can't go out with a net and say, okay, I'm going to eat me some cicadas and, okay, I got me a dragonfly. Right? Let's read on. Yet these may ye eat of every flying, creeping thing. So there are certain fowls that creep that you can eat. And there are fowls that creep that you cannot eat. Yet these may ye eat of every flying, creeping thing that goeth upon all four, which what? Which have legs above their feet to leap withal upon the earth. You see that? So the flying, creeping things that you can eat, they have to have legs above their feet to leap withal upon the earth. Like what? Like a locust, right? A locust, let's pull up a locust. See, a locust is a flying, creeping thing, but it has legs to leap withal upon the earth. You see that? So you can eat a locust. A locust is clean. A cricket is not clean. Yeah, brother saying, well, okay, well, I'm gonna eat me some cricket. No, you can't eat a cricket. Crickets don't live in the same environment as a locust. Crickets live in dark, miry places. We don't eat beasts that live in the dark. We eat beasts and things that need the sun, that need the light, right? These are some of the common denominators of the things that we're allowed to eat. We don't eat things that creep out from under rocks, things that dwell in darkness. The Lord is not dealing with the sons of God and us being in darkness, man. We don't have to wait till it's nighttime to go eat our food. That's madness. Man goeth from work until the evening. That's in Psalms chapter 104. Now, if you're the type of brother that say, well, no, I'll only eat my food when it come out at night. Well, what the hell is he eating? You don't want to be around a brother like that. Oh, well, I'm not eating. I got to wait till the sun go down. Then I'll be outside. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna do my thing. Well, he's gonna be eating creeping things, flying fowls that creep, wild nocturnal beasts and wild things, man. Hey, we're the children of the day. Let me get that at 1 Thessalonians. I'm gonna have to open up another blue letter. Right, we are the children of the day. So that, again, those are common characteristics of certain animals that we're allowed to eat. Right? 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and 5. I'm gonna start at 4. But ye brethren are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. So we don't dwell in the darkness. We dwell in the light. Right? Like a cricket dwells in the darkness. They come out at night and they make all of them strange sounds. Freaking off, man. They mate calling and they making noise and they, doing God knows what in the dark night. A locust flies by day and they move in bands. A cricket is solo. Cricket sitting up there rubbing his legs, freaking off, man. A locust has an army and they depend on one another and they're solid and they eat the grass and they thrive in the light and they thrive in the sun and they leap withal upon the earth. The Lord said, that's what I want them to eat if they're going to eat a fowl that creeps. Not no cricket sitting in the dark, rubbing his legs together under a rock. Right? The Lord said, but ye brethren are not in darkness, that day shall overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of the light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Right? So let's pull this up. So this dietary law teaches you about the day, about the night, the behavior of certain animals that dwell in the night, beasts that dwell in the night, creatures of the light, the humble creatures that we can eat like the sheep and these things, man. All right, let's pull up a cricket. Cricket. Like environment. See if they give us like a tropics. And crickets like moist climates too. Right? They're like moist climates. And crickets really don't roll in bands, as far as I know. Right? You see that? Crickets are primarily nocturnal and prefer dark spaces beneath rocks. So we're not dealing with that. We're not going to open up or lift up a rock. Oh, wow, what's that? Right? Let me eat that thing under the rock. No. Right? We'll eat something in the light. We prefer things of the light. Just like you rather prefer a brother that's not in some secret dark place. You don't want to hang around a brother in a dark place. You don't want to be in a dark place. You don't want to be underneath the rock. You don't want to be dwelling and shrouded in confusion and madness. You rather be the children of the light like we went into, man. And the Lord said, everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. Right? This John chapter 3 and 19. And this is the condemnation, that light is coming to the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. So a lot of those this is talking about man, but a lot of the nocturnal creatures, they have behaviors and characteristics that the Lord said, look, the way that these creatures operate, yeah, I made them, but I don't want my people operating like them. Right? Ruling in the dark. Right? Eating anything. Remember, we're sheep. We eat grass. We're ruminants. The Lord likens us unto sheep. We chew the cud. Right? We eat the grass of the Lord. He puts us in the green pastures. We meditate. That's that regurgitating. Right? We read. We teach. We meditate. We do the same thing. That's us chewing that cud. We're not like these beasts that dwell in dark places, man. That hide under rocks. So again, our diet is a direct reflection of the spirit that Yahweh WATCHMEN has given us. That's why the creatures and the beasts that we eat move in that kind of that same spirit. Humble, lowly, dwell in the light. Non-violent, non-predator kind of creatures. And that's the spirit that we should be having in our natural estate. Right? So again, like I was saying, the dietary law is predicated off of the spirit that Yahweh WATCHMEN wants you to be in. And as you look at every other beast that the Lord told you not to eat, that's what the Lord calls man a beast. When man has no understanding, or a man is moving contrary to the will of Yahweh WATCHMEN, he's always being likened to a beast. All right, let's read on to John 3:21. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in the Most High. Right, so this is Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 21 again. Yet these may ye eat of every flying creeping thing that goeth upon all four, which have legs above their feet to leap withal upon the earth. Even these of them ye may eat, the locust after his kind, and the bald locust after his kind, and the beetle after his kind, and the grasshopper after his kind. Now you look this word beetle up, right? This word beetle is really going to another type of locust, right? Let's pull this up, right? A kind of locust, a leaping creature. All right, an actual beetle, as far as I know, doesn't leap. So it's not going into an actual, an actual beetle. Right? See that? Yeah, we're not eating that. That doesn't look like anything the Lord told you to eat. Right? That's why you got to go into that Hebrew. If you don't go into that Hebrew, you're going to be caught out there, eating a beetle. Cracking that horn open. So that's really going into different types of locusts. It's just the way it's translated. Right? It's just going into a different type of locust. A locust so called from its leaping, with wings and fit for food. All right, kind of locust. And again, that's the only time that word is used in the entire Bible, as far as we know. Right? So let's go back to this. Right? Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 23. But all other flying creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination unto you. And for these ye shall be unclean. So if you eat those, you're unclean. Whosoever toucheth the carcass of them shall be unclean unto the even. So if you touch the carcass of these creatures, you're unclean unto the even. Carcass is a dead body. That's if you get a mosquito, you're unclean unto the even. Right? People do this. Right? Don't do that. You're going to be unclean unto the even. Right? Don't sit there and you're trying to, if you can, try to, you blow it away from you or take something and fan it, but don't do this, right? You're going to be unclean unto the even. Because now you got the carcass on your skin and it's on your hand. Then you go to salute a brother, right? Then you're even if you wash your hands and whatnot, right? The Lord said, until that sun go down, technically you're still unclean. You're picking up stuff, you're touching everything. And so it's best when you got these flying creepy things and they become a nuisance to you to find a better way than to kind of just doing this. All right, that's what they do in the world. We were taught that by Esau. Sitting up there, and I was at the plantation. This Edomite kept trying to catch it with one hand. Sitting up there, I'm not catching a flying creepy thing in my hand. Those things are filthy, man. A fly is filthy. Why would I sit there and do this to a fly or a mosquito? They got blood and carrying people's blood on them. I mean, they're in feces. trash, waste. So you're sitting up there, right? And now you are not. That's why you're unclean, because those creatures carry disease. Those creatures are in trash, filth, waste. It's madness. So we gotta know how to kind of move in this thing now, right? So let's see what you have to do. If that's something that you have done, you got to know how. It's not a sin to be unclean, right? Let's get that right. It is not a sin to be unclean, but if you do not follow the necessary steps to purify yourself according to the law, now it becomes a sin. Leviticus chapter 11 and 25. And whosoever beareth aught of the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean unto the evening. So if you carry a carcass, or if you touch the carcass of that, you have to wash your clothes. Literally. Now you can say, well, it didn't get on my clothes. Well, it got on my pants. Well, it don't matter. It don't matter. You got to wash your clothes, right? Because it's on your skin. So you got to take your shirt off, put them in the washer, put that your detergent in there, extra large, small, medium, kind of press that button, cold, hot water, and wash some clothes, man. Wash yourself. And then you're clean. Just like now, these other nations are likened unto beasts, man. Right? You dealing with them, you're unclean. You're hanging around Edomites, Moabites, crackheads, weed smokers. You're hanging around people, gamblers shooting dice, niggas, gangbangers, sodomites. You're going to be unclean hanging around them. You're going to have to wash yourself on a spiritual level and purify yourself with the word of the Most High and change your garments. Then you'll be clean. Verse 26. So this thing is about discipline. The carcasses, Leviticus 11 and 26, of every beast which divideth the hoof and is not cloven-footed, nor cheweth the cud, are unclean unto you. Everyone that toucheth them shall be unclean. Right? So if you touch the carcass of any beast that divides the hoof, meaning it's split, and is not cloven-footed, nor cheweth the cud, you're unclean unto the even. All right? And whatsoever goeth upon his paws, like a dog, a cat, a lion, a tiger, right? A bear, among all manner of beasts that go on all four, those are unclean unto you. You can't eat a bear. You can't eat a lion, a dog, a cat, a tiger, right? A Bengal. Whoso toucheth their carcass shall be unclean unto the even. It's not a sin to touch a lion, but if you touch the carcass of it, you're unclean unto the even. And he that beareth the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean unto the even, they are unclean unto you. So if you're responsible for getting rid of that carcass and removing it out of the camp, that person's unclean. These also shall be unclean unto you among the creeping things that creep upon the earth, the weasel and the mouse and the tortoise after his kind. So why does the Most High say these also shall be unclean unto you among all the creeping things? Because you might look at a weasel and say, well, it's not a creeping thing. It's like a mouse or something. The Lord said, no, it's in the same category as a centipede. A weasel is in the same category as a millipede, as an ant, as a dung beetle, right? It's in that same category. So when you look at it, you put it on the same pedestal as those other creeping things. Because one might think that it's a little bit better than eating a centipede. The Lord said, no, absolutely not. Same thing. The weasel, the mouse, even the tortoise, after his kind. When it says after his kind, meaning there are different types of tortoise. You'll read about this creature after his kind. This creature after his kind. When it says after his kind, it's other creatures like that. Different types of tortoise, right? You can look up all the different types of tortoise all day. They're all unclean. And a ferret, and a chameleon, and the lizard, and the snail, and the mole. These are unclean unto you among all that creep. Whosoever doth touch them, when they be dead, shall be unclean until the evening. So if you touch the carcass of a lizard, chameleon, snail, ferret, mouse, tortoise, you're unclean till the sun go down. And upon whatsoever any of them, when they be dead, doth fall, it shall be unclean. So if you got a fly that dies inside of your wine glass, there is a law that you have to follow. If there is a fly or mosquito or any unclean thing that dies and falls on a vessel made of leather, or it's a law that has to go into that. We have to know how to deal with that. You might look on your windowsill, it's a dead fly on your windowsill. How do you act? Okay, a dead fly in your wine glass. How do you act? Okay, a dead this and this. You got to figure this thing out and look at the law to know how to purify your house and keep your house clean. Otherwise, you got all these dead things in your house bringing spirits, man. All right? You got to kind of get down with this thing. Whether it be any vessel of wood or raiment or skin or sack, whatsoever vessel it be, wherein any work is done, it must be put into water, and it should be unclean until the even, so it shall be cleansed. So if you got like let's say a woman got a purse, all right? She got like her purse going on and whatnot, and a bug kind of landed on it and died. Now she can't say, okay, well, look, I'm gonna just take a napkin, get it out of my purse. No, she got to take that. She got to get that stuff out of her purse. I don't care what she got in there. She got to empty it out. She got to take that. She got to put it in the water. Got to wash it, and it's unclean until the even. Now she can say, well, look, this was $10,000. This was $5,000. This, hey, well, look, that's the law. Well, I don't want to put it in the prayer. I don't want to. Hey, look, nobody wants to hear that, man. Either you follow the laws of the commandments or you're not. And it could be a sack. It could be something that you kind of hold, you know, and it carries things. Carry your money on you, right? Carry your coins. If something die on it, hey, look, you got to take that stuff out, put it in the water, and it got to be unclean until the even. That's a vessel of wood. You might have a bowl made of wood with all of your apples and your oranges and your fruits in it. You got these fruit flies, and you're getting that spirit in the damn fruit fly, land on a bowl, and now everything's contaminated. So now you got to empty that fruit out, dump that fruit out, take that bowl, get all your dishes that's not defiled by that, clean that out, clean the sink out, separate that from that bowl, purify that bowl, cleans that, set that one to the side, wait to the even, and then it's clean. That's the laws of Yahweh WATCHMEN Yahushua. You got to follow that to the T. Like I said, the dietary law, this law is not just, okay, well, I can't eat pork. Okay, I can't eat crab. No, this thing runs deep. You got to know about the purification rites. Peradventure, you do become unclean. You know? Verse 33. And every earthen vessel, wherein any of them falleth, whatsoever is in it shall be unclean, and ye shall break it. What is an earthen vessel? An earthen vessel is something made of ceramics. It could be a ceramic pottery. It can be made of glass. That's elements made out of the earth, molten, heated up to be able to make a vessel to contain something. So anything made of glass, porcelain, ceramics, pottery, things of that nature, if something dies and lands in that glass, you got to break that glass. Now you can say, look, you can say, I don't want glass everywhere. Look, hey, look, you got to follow this law. The Lord don't care about your emotions. Right? Well, I don't have a broom. Okay, well, what if I break it and get some under the couch? Well, you better figure this thing out later, but you better break it. Well, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll have to wait. Let me order. No. Remember, we are vessels, right? According to Yahweh WATCHMEN Yahushua. And if we become unclean, the Lord is going to break us, man. So you better learn how to follow this law, or the Lord is going to break you. The Lord even called us in Hosea a vessel wherein is no pleasure. So this law teaches you many things. Discipline, right? The fundamentals, sacrifices. Hosea chapter 8 and 8. Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. Because we were broken. The Lord destroyed us, man. Took us out of our homeland, put us in captivity, put us in subjection to the heathen. We lost our language. We lost our God. We lost the temple. We are likened unto vessels. Right? Let's go to Romans chapter 9. This is Romans chapter 9, right? And verse 21. Hath not the potter power over the clay? So we are earthen vessels made of clay, of the same lump, to make one vessel unto honor and another unto dishonor. So Israel is a vessel unto honor. But if you become unclean and you're defiled with the dead, then the Lord is going to break you. So that teaches you how to maintain the cleanliness of your house, man. And to keep your house clean and pure, because you're going to be breaking vessels all day. If you're filthy, you're going to have roaches, you're going to have ants, you're going to have all these unclean things coming in your house. Think about that spiritually. If your spirit is unclean, if you're not studying, you're not reading, you're not praying, you're not fasting, these same things are going to come in your house. Rule you the way you want your house to be ran and vice versa, and you'll fare well. But if you're filthy and nasty and defiled and abominable, you're going to have these dead things in your house. There's going to be a lot of broken vessels, a lot of damages, and your house is going to be destroyed. Then the Lord is going to destroy you, man. So we are a vessel unto honor, and Esau naturally is a vessel unto dishonor. Reading on. What if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? And Esau was created to be destroyed. He was created as a vessel fitted for destruction. Right? Let us not be so for us, man. Let it not be so. Let us not be earthen vessels that are defiled by the dead, and let us not be broken. But carnally speaking, back in the law, if anything does fall in the earthen vessel and dies, you got to break it. A foreshadowing of what's going to happen to the children of men, right? Verse 34. So we ought to keep our vessels clean. Leviticus 11:34. Of all meat which may be eaten, that on which such water cometh shall be unclean. And all drink that may be drunk in any and every such vessel shall be unclean. You see that? And so that's plain, right? All of the meat that you have and any drink, if something defiles it, it's unclean. And everything whereupon any part of their carcass falleth shall be unclean, whether it be oven or ranges for pots, they should be broken down, for they are unclean. They should be unclean unto you. See that? Oven, ranges, pots, they are broken down. Let me actually get that, right? We pull up oven, right? That's an actual oven, fire, pot, portable stove. Because you might have a dead thing inside that in the ancient world, man, right? We get it. It can happen, you know? Let's see, ranges for pots. Stove, range, cooking furnace. So if something down your stove, really according to the law, you're supposed to get rid of it, man, and get another stove. Right? Your microwave or something like that. Hey, look, you got to get rid of it, man. Let's read on. Leviticus chapter 11 and 36. Nevertheless, a fountain or pit wherein there is plenty of water shall be clean, but that which toucheth their carcass shall be unclean. And if any part of their carcass fall upon any sowing seed, which is to be sown, it shall be clean. Right? But if any water be put upon the seed, and any part of their carcass fall thereon, it shall be unclean unto you. Right? So if you plant a seed in the ground and something fall on it, hey, look, that seed is in the ground, it's still clean. When that water hit it, it's going to start to grow, it's going to germinate, and if something, and it's a sign of life. So if it's a sign of life and something dead fall on it, it becomes unclean due to that plant sprouting and beginning to grow. But just the seed in the ground, that's fine. If that water was on a seed, you activated it, and it's a sign of life, and you create that reaction. So now when something dies on it, that seed that's now beginning to sprout, it becomes unclean. All right. Verse 39. And if any beast, and this is spiritual too. This law, these laws are very spiritual. They're very spiritual. The seed and us being the word being sown and the time of grace and repentance. But you have the knowledge of the law, you're activated by the water, and you're held more accountable according to the law and the judgments thereof. Is very spiritual. All right. Leviticus 11:39. And if any beast of which ye may eat die, he that toucheth the carcass thereof shall be unclean unto the even. Right? So you may have a beast that dies, drops dead, a heart attack, die of itself, right? Whatever. Still unclean to the even. And he that eateth of that carcass of it shall wash his clothes and be unclean unto the even. He also that beareth the carcass of it shall wash his clothes and be unclean unto the even. And every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth shall be an abomination. It shall not be eaten. No rats, mice, spiders, no delicacies. Stop following these delicacies from these other nations. Whatsoever goeth upon a belly, like a serpent, Komodo dragon, right? Other snakes and anacondas. And whatsoever goeth upon all four, right? Bears, cats, lions, or whatsoever hath more feet, centipedes, millipedes, among all creeping things that creep upon the earth, them ye shall not eat, for they are an abomination. Right? Ye shall not make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creepeth, neither shall ye make yourselves unclean with them, that ye should be defiled thereby. For I am the Lord your God. Ye shall therefore sanctify yourselves, and ye shall be holy, for I am holy. Neither shall ye defile yourselves with any manner of creeping things that creepeth upon the earth. And who is the top creeping thing? Esau. He's the serpent. The Lord has said, upon thy belly shalt thou go, right? And thus shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. Do not defile yourself, right? Let's get that in Genesis. With these creeping things that creep upon the earth. Genesis chapter 3 and verse 14. And the Lord God said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. Right? So don't defile yourselves with any manner of creeping things that creepeth upon the earth. For I am the Lord that bringeth you up out of the land of Egypt to be your God. Ye shall therefore be holy, for I am holy. This is the law of the beast, and of the fowl, and of every living creature that moveth in the waters, and of every creature that creepeth upon the earth, to make a difference between the unclean and the clean, and the beast that may be eaten, and the beast that may not be eaten. Right? Another thing, you can't eat a beast that dieth of itself either. You can't eat a beast that had a heart attack. You can't eat a beast that's roadkill. You can't eat a beast that was strangled. You can't eat anything with blood. You can't eat anything with fat. Right? These are other aspects of the law that we have to take note of. Right? We have to take note of according to the laws of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua. Right? But with that, I'm going to close up, giving, of course, all honor and glory to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua. This has been WFI Law School, the Dietary Law and the Truth of the Beast. Most High willing you were edified. Kwam Yasha. Shalom.